This here is our first factory that we built ourselves. We built this around 5 years ago, and we built this especially designed around our processes and how we like to manufacture and assemble our frames and trusses. We have 3 departments. One is the wall frames, one is the roof trusses, and the other section is the roll forming and assembly of the beams and auxiliaries of the rest of the house that all go together. So we call that the dispatch section of the company. So this is our new factory. It's around 3,500 square metres, and we have 8 machines that are all Howick machines making wall frames, and every bay is pretty much identically set up to be replicated so that they all work exactly the same.
So Brett, can you tell us just a little bit about yourself, your current role and your experience in the industry?
So my name's Brett Smith. I am a carpenter and have always been a carpenter and always will be a carpenter. I am a timber carpenter, as all mainly carpenters were when I was starting out my time. I have always been very loyal to everybody that I've ever worked for, and for many years I was a carpenter and I only installed for one builder in Queensland, and I was very loyal to them and did a huge volume of their timber frames. The builder that I was working for said to me one day, we are going to change and we're going to start supplying our customers with a steel house frame and truss from now on. And they asked me to be a part of that and be the main carpenter to take on installing their steel frames rather than the timber frames. And I said, I'm not too sure about this. I think I'm too old and too set in my ways to be changing from me being a timber carpenter. And being as loyal as I was to that builder, I said, okay, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll do a couple of them and see how I go, just to help them out. Anyway, I did the first one and found that it was quite difficult and slow, and I thought that this was going to be not something for me. I went home and told my wife that I'm going to have to find another builder because it was not something that I thought was going to work for me and was going to be too difficult. Anyway, my wife said to me, stick it out and do a few more and see how you go, and I did agree with her that I would stick it out. Anyway, within doing the first 5 steel frames, I realised that, hey, this is actually potentially going to be really quick, and I potentially have the ability to make more money as a carpenter installing steel frames rather than timber ones. So I stuck it out and got quicker and quicker at it and learnt over time the effective ways of installing those steel frames for that builder, and then became quite quick at them and was their main, that builder's main carpenter to install their steel frames. And I had a great crew of up to 10 guys installing those steel frames for me at that time. It became something that I realised steel frames were going to be a thing of the future because installing them had the potential to be quick and had the potential to have carpenters wanting to do this in the future.
So the transition was relatively easy once you got into it?
Once my mindset changed from that of I'm a carpenter and I work with timber, and accepted that, okay, carpenters can install steel. After my mindset accepted that, I knew that it was a thing of the future. I was installing the steel frames for this builder for a good few years and found that there was a ability to even fine-tune the steel framing system even better than what I seen and even better than what I was installing at the time. Because the industry at that point in time was quite new, I thought that there was going to be some improvements that could be made in the industry and improvements in the steel frames that I was installing at the time, even though they were great steel frames. And over time, I realised and knew that there was a huge future in steel framing and steel house frames and trusses, especially in Queensland, Australia. We have termites, we have big storms. Steel framing, it was meant to be in this area. And at that point in time, there was hardly anyone doing it. And every house that was getting built was in timber basically, except for almost this one builder and almost this one supplier. And I could see that there was a huge future for steel framing, for houses in Queensland and Australia. So I then knew that as a carpenter, your days are limited in what you can continue to do carpentry with your body getting older. And I always wanted to be a builder, and I always wanted to do more than what I was doing, and I knew I had it in me to do more. So I seen the potential to be able to be a supplier of steel frames and trusses. Potential was the word at that point in time. And being a carpenter, I knew that I had the brain, and I knew I had the ability to be able to nail it and be able to create a steel frame and truss system that was good for carpenters and all trades following on, because I'd spent many years at this point in time working directly with other trades with the steel frames and working directly installing them ourselves. So I did have a lot of that background in being able to brainstorm a good system that would actually work.
Can you tell us how Queensland Steel Frame came to be the single and leading largest steel framing supplier in Queensland?
Yeah. When I decided that I really wanted to look into being a supplier of these steel frames rather than just being an installer, my knowledge in steel framing and roll forming was zero. I had no knowledge of it whatsoever, had no idea. I had a mate of mine who worked in manufacturing, who was in southeast Queensland. I was originally a farmer, brought up in farming, so I do have a mechanical background. I knew that I did have that in my favour, but I had no idea about actually roll forming and detailing frames and making house frames and trusses. I am a pretty tough guy, and I knew that with my will and my carpentry knowledge, if I wanted to pursue it, I would be able to make it happen. So from there, I went out and started doing all of the research into being able to be a supplier of steel frames and trusses. And I started Googling it, I started looking into it, asked my friend who was in manufacturing, and we started looking at how to make them, and we found it was actually a roll former that actually made these steel frames and trusses, and that's exactly how I started. From there, I went home every night and researched it and found across the world that there was many companies that made these machines to be able to make house frames and trusses. But being an installer, I knew that what my vision was to have a steel frame and steel truss system that was going to be better than the rest, and it's something that was super easy to install and super easy for all trades following our install carpentry trade as well. So that was my vision, and once I started looking into it, I started looking around the world for many different suppliers of these steel frames and trusses, of these roll formers, I should say. And I went and had a look at this roll forming company in New Zealand, and the reason I actually went to them is they had a truss profile that I thought was going to be perfect for the install. It was a great profile, and I thought I'd go and just check these guys out and see if they were like-minded to myself and had something that would work for me. And I actually looked at a couple of different companies in New Zealand at the time that actually had roll formers. They weren't the only one, there was others as well. And I looked at them at the same time. And then after going to the others, I actually went to Howick and had a look at this truss profile. And the whole way that they presented their machines was very basic. It wasn't over fancy, but they had a machine that I could see was going to be perfect for myself if I was to start up this company. The way they worked with a software package company or separate software packages, open language to whoever you wanted to use as a software package without ongoing costs. I've always been a purchaser, not a renter. Yep. And that part of it worked for me. The guys I spoke to in that company were like-minded to what I were, and I just felt that if I was to start this company up, these profiles, these machines, this company would most likely be the company that I would get in with to supply these initial machines that I wanted. Especially their profiles and their machines were great. After many months of trying to find out how much it would cost to make a steel frame compared to how much I would get paid for that steel frame at the end, I came to a conclusion that the profit margin at the end of it was going to be very, very low. I think it was my mum that actually encouraged me at the end to actually go through with it, because I didn't think it was going to be a good decision. And she said, back yourself. If anyone's going to make it happen, you will. So I made the decision. I put a deposit on the machines. I think I had several months after that to have myself a warehouse ready to have these machines to go into. And I had to find a supplier of my steel coil in that time to get it all up and running. I had spoken to the builder that I was working for at the time, and I said to the builder, if I was to start this company up and I was to start supplying steel frames and trusses, would you be willing to give me a job? And they said, Brett, we would love to have a second supplier. We will give you one job, but if you don't do a good job of it, you won't get a second. I had the machines coming. I had to get myself a warehouse ready to go. I got the warehouse ready to go. I had the lease ready to, at the same time as the machines turned up, the same time as the coils turned up, and I was ready to hit the ground. I had my first purchase order from that builder, and I had the software for the detailing all ready to go, and we started up the factory and started on our first job.
Fantastic.
What was the feeling behind that? It must have been...
That's great.
It was terrifying. For me to have gone in and to have done what I had done without any roll forming experience at all was huge, and was something that I wouldn't recommend to anybody unless they had a little bit of knowledge in it. But I had to learn fast. At that point in time, being a carpenter, I could barely use a computer. And it was very overwhelming to have a program that obviously is a computerized program that detailed these frames. And when the machines turned up, even though they were very mechanical, they had a lot of computerized components in them. And for me to overcome that was a huge challenge to start with. At that point in time, I had my young apprentice, who was one of my carpentry apprentices, and he said to me that when I started up, he'd done some CAD work at school. He said he'd love to have a crack at trying to do the detailing for these jobs as I started up. And he'd started the detailing on the first few jobs. And very soon after that, I realized that we're going to need an extra person and to do detailing as well. And that's when Tiana came on board with us, and she was our second detailer. And she came very, very soon after we started up. So she was there from the beginning as well, basically. Since then, Tiana has been with us ever since, and now she's the manager of the 35 detailers that we have. When we first started out, we were in a tiny, tiny little shed. I only had one framing machine, one truss machine, a beam machine, and my rafter machine. And they were very, very tight in that factory. They barely fitted in, but it was what I had to do to make it to try and make some profit out of it at the beginning. After 12 months, I went to my accountant and he said, Brett, you have just made a profit. And it was a very small one, but that day was huge for me to know that I'd done 12 months and I'd made a profit. And it proved to myself and my family that I was going to make it work. And that was a huge turning point for me to know that, hey, we're in this for the long term.
That's validation.
That was the validation to say that, hey, you were right in your decision. And it just gave me a huge motivation to push forward for the future. So I think basically the next day after that, I signed up for a second property, that second warehouse, which was twice as big. And soon got out of the first warehouse that we were in and went into somewhere twice as big, if not 3 times as big as the one that we were initially in. I purchased another framing machine, I believe, from the same people I bought the first one from, which was you guys at Howick. And that's how I started to grow from there. We were in that factory for about 12 months, I think it was. And we were still mainly working for that one builder, working super hard on trying to find second builders to expand and trying to grow, knowing that we would outgrow that builder at some point in time. Within 12 months of being in that second building, we'd outgrown that second building, and we started to get some momentum. And I think in that time we locked in another 2 builders, I think, in that amount of time, which was great. It had that extra volume coming on, And we then realised that that same momentum was happening. I think at that point in time, maybe I had my second year tax return come back and proved that I was still just making a profit, and but had turned over a lot more money that second year. That gave us more momentum and was inevitable that we had to expand once again. So we moved into somewhere probably twice as big as that building that we're in. We went and bought another truss machine and another 1 or 2 frame machines. We also bought a 90mm machine at that point in time, all through Howick, and grew once again. And then I think we were in that place for maybe 2 years, 1 or 2 years as well. And then we realised that we were paying a lot of money in renting the building that we were in. And I went and purchased and got a loan and purchased a block of ground for a property that we thought we would build our own factory that would be specifically built and designed around the way that we flow. Up until then, we were using other people's factories, which was not designed specifically for our purpose. So that was a huge thing for us to have said that we built our own factory, and we had moved into our own place. And everybody that was a part of this team and that part of this company was super proud of this place that we're sitting in right now. So we were in this place for, I think, 4 years, and then had outgrown this place here, and we had to find somewhere to expand whilst we were in this place here. And we found the only way of doing that at that point in time, because we loved this place, was to have a secondary factory close by. So we moved our truss plant into a second factory close by here. We bought another truss machine, another framing machine once again at that point in time, expanded the company a little bit at that time, and had all of our trusses being made around the corner from here. When we did that, it allowed us to get through more work. It was a pain because we had to load our trucks here with half the product, and then they had to drive around the corner to get the second half of that product on. So we've done that for a couple of years until we found the next door neighbour had a spare block of ground that he was about to build a warehouse on himself, and then lease it out. And I approached him and talked him out of building that warehouse on it and leasing it and selling the block to myself. And he sold that block to us, and we set upon building a almost replica of what we have in the place that we're in right now. And being right next door, it is not the one factory, but it's the next best thing that you could get. We have a road that goes between the two. We can now have our trucks loop the whole lot of it and without having to turn around, which is great for our logistics. It gives us the ability to once again just expand dramatically. And we have 7 or 8 roll formers over there making the frames every single day. And the whole flow between that property plus this property now has given us the ability to expand once again and allowing us to grow into that building now. So yeah, so that's where we're up to today.
So you offer a range of solutions: wall frames, trusses, beams, purlins. Can you talk us through a little bit of that?
As we've evolved, we've worked with like-minded builders to ourselves. We've grown to get relationships with builders that have a house that works great for our product and a house that works great for the high volume of work that we push through. And to have that high volume, you need to have builders that are good to work with, and you need to have builders that have good systems in place and have houses that match the type of product that we supply. We do supply from very, very basic small houses through to medium difficult 2-story houses. We have an excellent product for that range of builder that does high volume. It's a product that's set up for southeast Queensland and the east coast of Australia. We don't do too much in the cyclone areas from where we are. That's more the top end of Queensland. Our product's set up perfectly for the wind ratings that we're in, the climate that we've got, and the type of builders that we have. The product that we have with the high volume, with having our frame machines and the base metal thickness of the machines that we have, and the screw type, the trusses, and the hip end system that we have, and the whole thing is built specifically around this climate and this area. And it's perfect, the system that we have for those areas and specifically for those builders that we work for. Our frame machines and our truss machines are just absolutely spot on for most houses that are built in this area. The floor system that we have, the webbed floor joists, are super strong. They do really well, good spans. That integrated with our beam that we supply for double garage panel lift doors or bearers in a floor system. They work perfect together. Our beams are easy to screw into. Our floor joists screw into our beams really easily, and the builders just absolutely love it. For me to have got where I've got, and with our vision of, we have a motto here, ever aiming higher. That's what we always say. For us to do that, you have to be around like-minded people and like-minded companies that have similar journeys to what you do yourself. And that way you don't have things that are stopping you from achieving your own goals because they have similar goals to what you have. And when you work with a company and you find that they are holding you back, or they're working with a company and you find that they are not like-minded to what you are, or they have a different product to what works for your company, they could be a different product that works for someone else, but not necessarily for you. When you get those roadblocks that stop you from being able to grow, or if you want to grow, or stop you from being able to do what you're wanting to do, you find that you drift away from those guys. But we have had people that we've worked with over this journey that we have not continued to work with because they weren't able to keep up with us, or they weren't able to facilitate, or they weren't able to give us what we need to be able to ever aim higher. But from the very first machine that I bought with Howick, you guys were like-minded. I could see that you guys had the product that would help me to be able to achieve what I wanted to achieve, and the product that would help me to grow. And not only the actual product that the machine makes, you also have to have the customer support to be able to help you for if something goes wrong. And that's where this whole thing could have fallen apart if we didn't have that customer support to help you to be able to get past those roadblocks, which I obviously had at the beginning because I knew nothing about the machines at the very first time. For myself to have had maybe 15 Howick roller formers right now, that's a testament of that. And I think I explained to you guys before that one of my first machines I ever bought was not a Howick roll forming machine. It was through someone else, a different roll forming company. And it's a testament to Howick to show that I went back and bought my second machine through Howick.
Yeah, nice.
And then every machine I've ever bought since then has been a Howick roll forming machine. So that, I think, itself proves the loyalty of Howick to myself and the loyalty of Howick to Queensland Steel House Frames. Not only that, but the quality of the machines and the reliability of the machines and the usability of the machines. And I think that those things all added together has helped us to grow to where we are. And every time I go to buy a new roll forming machine to grow this company forward, I've always reached out once again to that company that's always been there for us and always helped us to grow and ever aim higher. All the way down to this new beam machine that we're making right now, something that's not standard for Howick and it's not standard for Queensland Steel House Frames, but to work together on a different roll former altogether to get that up and running is going to be a huge achievement for both of us. And it's a testament to Howick that I've reached out to you guys to make that machine and that roll former for us, because I know that there was other people that had their hand up for that role.
Quick little note about the culture here, the team around you in this place, and
You can see it everywhere. You walk in.
yeah, I mean
and
everyone's
it's a physical thing you can feel.
yeah,
I love coming to work every day. I love the camaraderie. I love the whole team environment that we have here. And I don't come here every day to make money. I come here because I love the team. I've said to many people, I always wanted to play sports when I was young, but I didn't have the body to be able to do it. But I've always loved team environments and a team sport and a team atmosphere.
Yep.
And because I didn't have the body to become a football player, I think I've created my own.
This is your team.
This is my
your
team.
Yeah.
This is my team, and I love being the coach of this team. And I think we all come here for that reason, to be part of a team. And everyone always says that is one of the best parts about this place, is we're all part of a team and we all work as a team together to get all of these jobs out every day. And it's such a huge team effort to go from our sales department to our detailing department through to the manufacturing side of it. And then we also have our trucks, our own trucks, our truck drivers that come in and deliver our frames every day. Through to, even after that, we have around 30 gangs of carpenters that all install these steel frames working directly for us. And we contract out to our builders a supply and install most of the time. Even those carpenters that are installing a lot of these frames were my original apprentices back 20 years ago. And even through to that part, they know that even the carpenters can come in here at any point in time and be part of our own team at this place. And it's recognised from one end to the other. And I just love it.
That's great.
I think that has a knock-on effect as well.
Yeah.
That feeds into the customer as well, like that customer experience. And that's something they'll see as well.
That's exactly right. And I've said probably too many times about like-minded people. We try to work with builders that are like-minded to us as well. And the builders that we work with have similar values to us, I really believe. And they recognise that relationship with us, and we recognise that with them, similar to what we recognise it with our carpenters, similar to what we recognise it with our steel roll forming companies that we buy our roll formers through. So it works in all different directions, and everybody that understands that within this whole team, knowing that it works in different directions, that whole environment and team environment understands it. And those guys that are here love it and appreciate it.
Where to from here, Brett?
From here, we are continuing to grow in using that term, ever aiming higher. Doing a better quality job, always growing. Every year we want to grow our volume, not by a lot, but always be going forward. I say if you're not going forward, you're going backwards, as many people probably say. We don't only want to get higher volume, it's about a better quality and better relationships and fine-tuning everything. We've only been doing this for 12 years, which is a small amount of time. And we still have so much to do better than what we are doing now. In many ways, we're focusing a lot on our safety. We're focusing a lot on our quality, like I said before, but still our volume. It's still always our volume. So that's where we're heading. And trying to do it calmer whilst trying to learn from all of your mistakes that you've made in the past and learn from them to try and be better every day as a person and as a company and as a team.
I think you can definitely see it though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Thank
we
you.
wish you all the very best, and we look forward to being part of it as you continue that journey.
I deeply thank you guys from Howick for being such a huge part of this journey and helping us to have got where we are today. We probably couldn't have done it without you.